Greetings, Guardian Scholars. I wanted to make a quick video showing you how to do Research Quest Level 3, since this is really essential for preparing you to write Essay 3. So research is a process that often requires you to go back more than once to look for everything that you need. So this is really your first step in the research process. And again, we're going to be looking at the causes, effects, and solutions to a problem that you wish to see solved. And so you want to keep that in mind all the way through. And if you have a very general sense of what your topic is, for instance, if you wanted to talk about homelessness, you might want to look through and find a narrower topic as you research. So you might go from homelessness to foster youth homelessness, or from fires to wildfires in Southern California, or from mental health to anxiety in Gen Z college students, something that really narrows the scope down. That's actually not going to make it a shorter paper, that's going to make it a deeper paper, a more specific and more profound paper. So narrower and deeper is better than broad and wide and shallow. So the first thing obviously is read the directions, okay? And then you can just do this in a separate piece of paper, that's fine, or you can download the guidelines, which is the same. It's really the same either way. And I have sort of a form that you could fill out as you're working. And so I have downloaded that myself. So it looks like this. And again, I'm just going to fill in as I do my work. And so what I want to do is I want to go to the library databases, and I want to record what databases I looked at, what search terms I used, and then as I find sources, I'm going to fill them in here until I have at least 10 sources to start with. And some of those sources I might dump later, okay? So an easy way to find the library is to go to the RCC homepage, and then here on the right under Student Gateways, there's Library here. Okay, and so when we get into the library, you can try the one search. That's actually been pretty useful to me, but I'm going to go to databases A through Z because it's a little easier to keep track of what I've done. And in terms of popular databases, here on the right there's a list. Academic Search Complete is definitely one of my favorites. CQ Researcher is another favorite for mine for the Essay 3 research paper. There tends to be a lot there. Opposing Viewpoints works for more when you're arguing something, procon.org as well. SIRS Issues Researcher is also fantastic. So I'm actually going to have us start there. And when you click on a database, you're going to see this. And then you'll stay logged in as long as you stay in the library. If you close off the library, you may have to log in again. So I'm going to pause this so that you don't see my ID and password, but the explanation of how to do it is right here. So once you put your login name and password for the library, you using your student ID and then your first initial plus up to 6 letters of your last name, you'll get right into the databases, and then you can click on other databases. For instance, if I want to go and open up Academic Search Complete in a new tab, I can do that, and CQ Researcher in a new tab. And I'll go ahead and show you with each of these how that works. So the first thing I need to think about is, what topic am I interested in talking about? And if you have no idea, SIRS Issues Researcher is actually a great place to start because they have it based on, right, they even have need help choosing a topic. So you can pick something that is really interesting to you, including leading issues, things that are really something of big concern today. You can even see coronavirus there, virtual classrooms. I'm going to go ahead and pick police brutality, since this is not, this is a current issue, and I think it'll be a good one to use. So when you look here, there's going to be 2 viewpoints. Like, do we just need more accountability and increased oversight, or is that not enough? And so they have, within that, there are actually 6 different sources, okay? There are critical questions, things to think about. There's a whole timeline here, which is really interesting to look at. You'll also know, so this is a good place to start with. So you have the contents, you have viewpoints, right? And so if I want to use the stuff on this page, I can click Cite, and I'm going to have the MLA style is already selected, so I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go back over to my document, and I need to keep track of what I'm looking in. So I'm going to write SIRS. I could write SIRS Issues Researcher, but SIRS would be enough. And I just looked at police, oh, I misspelled that, police brutality. Okay, there we go. And so the first source I found, and I know it kind of messes with the formatting here when you add stuff in, but that's okay. We can fix that. So I've got that in there, and the only reason I have the numbers here, you're not going to have numbers in your works cited list, is just so that you can see, oh, how many do I have? Do I have 10 or not? Okay, so that's a really good source that I might want to use. And what's kind of nice about it is if you do this on this one, I can do Control click and I can reopen it. Now it gives me that because it opened up a new window, but you can get back into that source pretty easily. So when we're doing our research notes, it won't be too hard for you to get in there. Now, that may not be the only thing I want to look at. That is just sort of an overview, but maybe I want to look at different solutions, right? Since part of what we're looking at is solutions. So I like the, yes, we mean literally abolish the police. That's interesting as a solution. And so I can see here it's a different source than what I was looking at before. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and then put that into my research quest. And what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to really do anything here. I could do like this as like a little placeholder, or I can just leave it blank, but I'm still using police brutality. I haven't entered in any new search terms. I'm not in a new database, so it's all still part of that same initial search that I did. But I don't want to have just one viewpoint, and so I want to look at, okay, here we need police reform now. Here's how we can do it. So, and maybe I would look at all 6, right? I mean, I'm looking at solutions. I want to see as many different solutions as people suggest. So, but I'm going to, at least at this point, I could really find, 7 of my sources right here. But what I'm going to do is, just for the sake of demonstrating, I'm going to go over and use a different database now. So I mentioned another database I really like is CQ Researcher. What's really funny here is I have not even put in police brutality yet, and yet it's the featured report here for October 9th, 2020. The CQ Researcher is an independent, apolitical research organization for Congress. It's actually the Congressional Quarterly Researcher. And so they look at the overview of police brutality, current situation, chronology, pro-con. So we're looking at that and more, right? And so let's go ahead and look at that. I didn't even have to put that in, but I'm going to go ahead and read the full report. And I'm going to click Cite Now. I want MLA. And I can just copy that. And so I don't even have to go to EasyBib. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write CQ Researcher here. And I didn't even look up police brutality, but I'm going to go ahead and put it here. And then okay, and so there we go. I have police under scrutiny there. Not sure why it went after my okay. Oh well, it's going after or before my number, but that's all right. And so I know I have a source right there that I could use for my paper. And so again, I can look at this, and there's a lot of really important information here. And then what's neat is they have related reports from before. So you can look at police misconduct, police brutality from 1991. That's a little bit older. I don't know if I would want to use it unless I'm trying to provide some maybe historical context. And then they have related topics. And so they have crime and law of enforcement. So there are some other things that I could look at as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause, and I'm going to bring us over to another data. We are here at another one of my favorite databases. This is actually very similar to that All EBSCO database, I think that Jacqueline Lesh showed us, which I was not aware of. Academic Search Complete also compiles a bunch of different databases together. And the main thing with this is sometimes you have to narrow down more. But if I write police brutality here, and maybe I want to narrow down to solutions, okay, that would be a way that I could narrow down a little bit, because I tend to get a lot. See, even with that, I already got 22 sources, right? Now, this is really interesting, is mapping fatal police violence. That's going to tell me about not just solutions, but also about the impact that this has on different people. So but you can notice that it tells you whether it's an academic journal, a periodical. Academic journals are really, really reliable. They also tend to be a little bit harder to read. And then they have a potential solution from a USA Today magazine. This is going to be much easier to read, but it's not going to be as much in depth. But I'm going to just go ahead and give you an example of how to do this. So if I click on this number, okay, and then I can go to PDF full text to look at it and decide, is this something I want to use? And by the way, as Jacqueline said, you can email yourself this, you can save it to your OneDrive, you can print it, you can do all kinds of things. You can email it to yourself, you can create a permalink. I am going to say, hey, let's go ahead and use this. What I want to do is go back so that I can show you how to cite. There we go, there's the citation. And then we have to search down for MLA, but it's in there, and we're going to copy that, put it right into here. I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but okay. That's funny. I'm sure let's do that. Okay, I'm just not going to mess with that right now. And this is from Academic Search Complete. And I looked up not just police brutality, but I looked up police brutality, and then I used and in capital letters, solutions or solution. Okay, and so there we go. I've already found half of these. I could have found, I could do much more than that, but that's a good starting point for our research quest. And then the other thing is, as you could look in for the ebooks, you can even check out books and do the curbside pickup. So if there's a book on police brutality, even though the library is not open to us to come in, you can still check out books. And so there might actually be some interesting books available. And ta-da, here's a 2016 book on police brutality. It's available both online and available in the main stacks. And so I might go ahead and, oh, look at that. I can cite it here, copy citations on the clipboard, and I'm going to go back to my research quest. And again, I'm not sure why the formatting is doing weird things, but I'm going to do one search, and then I looked up police brutality, and I found a book, and this needs to be italicized. So there may be issues with the citations, but they're at least a good starting point for your citations. So I hope this was helpful and that you have more of an idea of how to do this activity.